On a cold Christmas week, the Snow Queen entered her magical room to open her large black-covered notebook. Every New Year's Day, the Queen would write down the evil she would do, tear off the pages little by little, and throw them into the evil magic ball. Claw! Come here! Let's draw lots for evil! Wolf Claw came running in. He dipped his nose into the magic ball, chose a note from it, and handed it to his queen. Well done, Claw. Let's wet the wood in the barns of the houses so that no one can get warm this winter. However, the people of the country, living in happiness, were decorating a Christmas tree in the depths of the forest at that time. This year, the task of placing the shining star at the top was given to Prince William. The prince climbed the tree with the star in his hand, climbed and climbed, so much so that people looked tiny now when he looked down.
I didn't expect the top of the tree to be this high!
Although William tried very hard, he could not place the star at the top. Meanwhile, his friend, the white eagle, flew up to help him. People who saw the white eagle for the first time watched him with great admiration. The eagle spread his wings wide, took the star with his mouth, and gently placed it at the top of the tree. At that moment, everywhere began to shine with the light of the star.
Awesome! Wow!
Thank you, eagle friend!
At that moment, the Snow Queen noticed a bright light reflecting on the window of the castle. Huh? What is this light? When she looked in the direction of the light with the wolf, the queen, who saw that people were dancing and having fun, wanted to put an end to it immediately. Claw! Bring me that star right now. If you fail, I'll chain you to this castle and never let you out again. The wolf hastily left the castle to carry out the queen's orders. The closer he got to the star, the brighter the forest was, and the wolf saw cheerful people all around. After a while, Wolf, who came near the giant Christmas tree, ran quickly and climbed the tree when no one saw him.
Ah! Look!
This is the Queen's wolf!
Oh no! He will damage our tree! Just as the wolf was about to drop the star with his powerful paw, the white eagle appeared before him.
Don't even think about damaging that star, wild wolf! Grr. Whatever you do, I'll take it to my queen!
The eagle flapped his powerful wings from right to left and hurled the wolf from the tree. Every time Wolf Claw extended his huge claws to the eagle, he drove him away with his wings. At last, the eagle soared above the wolf and blew a mighty wind with his wings. The wolf first took off with the power of the wind and then fell on a stone. Wolf Claw, whose claw was injured, realized that he could not resist the eagle's power and limped back to the castle.
Eagle! Are you okay?
Oh no! His wings! They're injured!
What are we going to do now?
While the queen waited impatiently, walking back and forth in her ice castle, she was momentarily saddened when she saw the wolf with a lame foot, which returned empty-handed. Claw! What happened to you?
Forgive me, my queen. No matter what I did, I failed! I couldn't bring you the star, all because of that white eagle!
The queen was so enraged that she raised her hands and created a whirlwind of ice surrounding her. She then took off and flew into the forest. While the trees she passed were falling down one by one, the queen came to the Christmas tree. When the children saw the queen coming out of the whirlwind, they fled in fright.
This is her! Run!
You will all be punished for disobeying me! Prince William walked towards the queen through the flying snow. He was still in love with her, just like the first time he saw her. But the beautiful queen was looking at him with anger.
This Christmas tree is a symbol of happiness! Please don't harm it!
The prince showed the people with his hands.
Don't you realize how much you're upsetting everyone?
I forbid being happy in this country as long as I live. The queen sent white lightning bolts from her hands into the sky and started an ice rain, while everyone was looking for a place to hide to escape from the ice floes. The white eagle spread his wings wide and took people under his wings. Every piece of ice hurt the eagle's wings. The queen rose above the tree, and the moment she touched the star, all its brilliance was extinguished. The forest suddenly sank into its former darkness. Not the light of the star, but the cause of my eternal evil will always be upon you. None of you will be able to resist me. The extinguished star suddenly found itself in an ice whirlwind. While being blown left and right on the queen's rapidly rotating whirlwind, it suddenly fell to the ground. The queen, on the other hand, went away without realizing that the star had fallen. The children, on the other hand, surrounded the eagle and healed his wounds. Because he had saved them, they named the white eagle Hero from now on. At that moment, two eyes appeared in the darkness. The witch Kara, who cursed the queen with an icy heart in her childhood, had been watching all along. The Snow Queen thought she had won today. But she could not understand how much evil had harmed her. Because the one who does evil always finds evil, and the ones who do good always find good. Once upon a time, a beautiful, ice-hearted Snow Queen was living in a land far, far away. In her castle with pointed towers, she had the children she kidnapped made ice sculptures all night. In the daytime, the sculptures were melting one by one. Their water was feeding the wild white wolf, the guardian of the castle and the queen.
I missed my home. Do you remember how we got here?
I don't remember anything, but we must be quiet. It would be too bad if the queen heard us speak.
There was also a prince with a heart of gold in the same country. When this prince named William learned that the happy children in the country were abducted by the queen, he jumped on his beloved horse and set out to find the children. After traveling for a long time, the prince arrived at the place where there was a large garden.
You're very tired, my loyal friend. Let's get some rest.
When he entered the garden, he noticed that all the flowers were wilted. As soon as he touched one of the flowers, a black smoke surrounded him, and the flower turned into a witch. "Stranger, what are you doing in my garden?"
I'm sorry. I didn't know this place belongs to you. I'm looking for the Snow Queen's castle. Do you know where it is?
This witch, whose name was Kara, was very alarmed when she heard the name of the Snow Queen, but she did not reveal it to the prince. I have not heard of such a queen, nor such a castle. Take your lies with you and get out of my garden.
It's not a lie. The queen is kidnapping the children and imprisoning them in her castle. You must help me.
Don't ever talk to me about her again. Now get out of here, right now.
You know her. And you know where she is, too. Please tell me where she is.
The witch Kara couldn't take it anymore and turned Prince William's horse into an ice figurine by magic. The prince was stunned.
Hey, what did you do to my horse?
If you don't want to turn into an ice sculpture too, get out of here quickly. Be careful with the figurine in your hand so that it doesn't melt, or you'll lose your horse. William took the horse figurine in his hand and ran into the forest in fear. Meanwhile, an eagle with huge white wings saw him and flew to him.
Huh? You're the white eagle of legends!
And aren't you the prince of this country? Why are you running in fear in the forest?
Please help me, White Eagle. I must go to the Snow Queen's castle.
But it's very dangerous there. Why do you want this?
The prince told the eagle what had happened one by one. The eagle agreed to take him to the castle.
Put your figurine in my feathers. I will keep it cool and do my best not to melt it.
William jumped onto the eagle's back, and together they soared into the sky. After flying through the clouds for a while, they finally arrived at the Snow Queen's castle. No matter how hard the prince tried, he couldn't open the castle's ice door.
Step aside, Prince. You need my strong wings to open the door. But be careful inside, because if I stop flapping my wings, the door will close behind you.
By flapping his wings quickly, the eagle managed to open that heavy door of the castle, and Prince William entered the castle. It was very cold and very quiet inside.
Kids, where are you?
The Snow Queen, who heard the voice of the prince, was very angry when she realized that there was a stranger in her castle. Who are you? What are you doing in my castle? The moment the prince saw the queen, he was stunned by her beauty. He couldn't say a single word as he stared at her with admiration. Meanwhile, the queen, waving her magic wand, created sharp pieces of ice. I order you to leave my castle immediately, or I'll turn your heart into ice.
Stop, please! Children, the children you have kidnapped must return to their families. Release them!
The queen started throwing pieces of ice at the prince. While the prince was running away from the pieces of ice, he noticed the children watching him from behind a large sculpture. Just then, as the eagle continued to flap his white wings rapidly, the horse figurine between his wings flew to the castle. The prince didn't know whether to save the figurine or to evade the queen's attack. He was about to save his horse when the queen trapped that figurine in an ice bubble and pulled it to herself. As soon as she touched the figurine, she was very surprised. A horse turned into ice? A spell! I'd know the spell anywhere! The witch Kara! Yes! Queen, thanks to the figurine in her hand, remembered that when she was little, she had a heart full of love and benevolence. The other children, who were afraid of this mysterious girl who made flowers bloom wherever she touched, would not play with her. Tired of being alone all the time, the little girl went into a garden with beautiful flowers one day and plucked all the flowers in the garden. But that garden belonged to the wicked witch, Kara. The witch suddenly appeared before her and cursed her with ice magic. After that day, the Snow Queen has never felt the love in her heart. That's why she banned the word love and started kidnapping all the happy kids in the country.
Please don't hurt him. Haven't you ever had something you loved?
Don't use that word here.
If only your heart of ice knew what love means. Love is the biggest and most precious of feelings.
As Prince William spoke to the Queen, the children felt the presence of love again. In this way, they gathered their strength and sneaked out of the castle door. The Queen didn't even see the children run away as she was filled with anger. Ugh! This figurine is now mine! I will never give it to you! The Queen continued to hurl the pieces of ice at William. The prince was about to leave the castle when one of the ice shards got stuck in his foot. Wounded, William ran towards the eagle. The Snow Queen's wild white wolf also saw what had happened and rushed out to catch the children. At the last moment, the prince got on the eagle's back with the children and flew away. The wolf snarled angrily behind them. The prince's mind was with the horse figurine, and his heart was with the beautiful Snow Queen. And the days when the Queen will realize the value of true love were still far away.
Once upon a time long ago, there was a lazy young girl living in a land far, far away. One day, the villagers asked Lazy Girl if she'd be willing to help collect the crops. "We can't keep up anymore. Please come help us a little." The Lazy Girl looked out over the garden. "Ooh, I can't help you with that. It'll make my nails break," she said. She slowly walked away from the field so that no one else would come and ask her for help. But she ended up walking so much that she found herself in front of an ice castle.
Oh, is this the castle? Is this the famous palace that the Snow Queen lives in?
Out of curiosity, the Lazy Girl opened the ice door and walked inside. When she saw the cold and gloom of the castle, she could not believe her eyes.
Oh, how is it possible for anyone to live in here?
At that moment, the beautiful Snow Queen noticed the Lazy Girl, who had come into her castle without her permission. She was so angry. "You came in here without permission. You're my prisoner now. I'll only release you if you complete the task that I give you," she said, before imprisoning her in the castle. The first task that the Queen gave her was to clear the ice that was blocking the roads to the castle. The Lazy Girl, desperate to get away from the castle, cleared the roads by carrying ice with her hands for more days than she dared count. But that was still not enough to make the Queen smile. The second task she was given was to extract water from the frozen lake. The Lazy Girl managed to extract the water by breaking the ice with stones. Once again, the Queen did not even look at Lazy Girl's face. The last task she was given was to organize all the books in the castle's massive library.
How am I ever going to organize all of these books?
Lazy Girl patiently placed the books next to each other. Each time she finished a shelf, she found herself feeling better. Now she'd be able to leave the palace. Suddenly, she noticed an ice horse figurine that was standing alone on a dusty shelf. The figurine looked like it was very sad. The Lazy Girl thought, "This figurine must be a lost friend of the Queen's. This might be the reason she's so sad." She thought she should help. From among the books on the shelf, she picked the book out that had information about old legends and spells. In the book, she read that bringing ice figurines to life requires love, as well as lots of patience and courage. The Lazy Girl gathered all of her courage and decided to perform the ritual. Inside the palace, she found a garden made out of crystals. In this garden, on one side, there was a passage also made of ice, through which only the bravest could pass. The Lazy Girl moved very carefully among the huge ice crystals and kept her wits about her. She knew that she could also turn into an ice figurine at any moment, and at the end of the passage, she came across the legendary ice flower. She plucked up her courage and picked the flower. To get to the highest tower of the palace, she climbed up the cold steps until she was at the top. And there, she found a very small room filling up with the first rays of sun. She placed the figurine down and put the ice flower on it and whispered wishes of love. Suddenly, the figurine started trembling and the ice crystals began to glow, and then they dissolved.
I can't believe it! It's happening!
Finally, the figurine turned into a graceful horse right in front of the lazy girl. Then the horse reared up and made its way towards the queen's room. The Ice Queen saw that her lost friend had come back and could not hold her tears back. Her heart of ice softened completely. This horse is my only friend. How did you bring him back?
It just took some love, patience, and also courage.
The queen told the lazy girl that she was free to go now. While the lazy girl was returning to her village, she realized that she wasn't lazy anymore. And then from that day onwards, the lazy girl started being helpful to everyone. This is how the fairy tale of the land far, far away ended, with friendship and hard work.